This.
It's 11:59 on Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Welcome, everybody, to our Daily Gun Show. We will be live every night at midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific, for about an hour each night to have a conversation about guns. We've got hosts. Angelina's jumping in from California. Thanks for joining.
Hello.
Maggie is jumping in from Michigan. Thanks for joining.
Hey, how's everyone doing tonight?
And I am also in California right now at the moment, jumping in as well. So we've got a link out there to our other hosts. We'll see if they jump in, and we'll get underway. What do you think of that new intro? We're here to have a conversation about guns. Just leave it at that.
I think that's good.
Yeah, nobody cares about any of that other stuff anyway. We don't get too many comments. We do appreciate the single-digit comments we do get, but I'll quit asking for them. Nobody cares. So we're on the road with the Gun Show Loophole Tour in California. I left. I don't know where I was. Where were we? What part of town is that again?
What do you mean?
Where we split off was that wasn't Simi Valley.
Oh, we were in the San Fernando Valley, Canoga Park.
Okay, and then well, maybe that's no, because I thought I was going to go around the next hill and then ditch LA completely and get to 10. But anyway, Google took me south into LA and stuck me right in the middle of traffic. So I just jumped off desperately on the first exit I could find. And it turned out to be the Griffith Park, where the Griffith Observatory is, which is only made famous by Terminator coming back in time and coming out and beating up the guy from Aliens and taking his clothes. So that's where I am, except I'm not at the top of that where that place is. I'm at the Greek Theater, which I don't think is famous, just below it in a big grass parking lot.
The Greek Theater is an amazing venue.
Does anybody even know about it? Has it ever been anything important ever happened there?
I mean, I think people in LA know. I don't know if it's like nationally known.
I think I'm kidding because I'm pretty sure everybody knows what it is. But yeah, it's a big amphitheater or something, like in the olden style, it looks like.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where I'm at. And it's the only place that has internet. Wherever I pulled off the highway had 0 bars, and then I had to kind of drive up this hill to get bars because I'm pointing towards LA. I guess if you're saying if I would keep going up the road that when I got here was super crowded, I would get to a vantage point where I could see like the Hollywood sign and all of LA. So maybe I'll drive up there right at the end of this and get a quick picture at night. Is it worth looking at LA at night when it's a clear sky?
Absolutely. LA is beautiful, actually.
All right, maybe I'll drive up there.
I mean, can you imagine like during the riots, it was all on fire too, so you could see all that?
Well, that would have been scary, actually. I don't think I would have drove up here during the riots. I think I would have drove to Arizona during the riots.
I remember seeing on TV at nighttime pictures over the areas that were not just rioting, but where all the fires were. And just knowing that wasn't just some like suburban or rural area, but that was a major city that was just on fire everywhere. Was a very haunting image.
We should probably do a show on the 92 because it was pivotal for me. I was a little kid just getting out on my own, and yeah, it was.
To me, it drove home all the reasons of why I never want to live in a city.
Well, that's true. I guess that probably hit a bunch of us, huh?
But you know, I was a young father of 2 at that point, and I was never very fond of cities in the first place, but it really drove it home as far as a place to raise a family, because that's the place that I was in at that point in my life. But that's just obviously different impressions leave different things on different people. So,
Smeggy, where were you during the riots?
Just outside Detroit. I don't know. I guess I kind of remember it, but it didn't hit me as much as some of you other guys. So I mean, I guess it was like, wow, that's kind of spooky or scary or whatever, but
You know,
I
and
didn't
the
really know a lot
replays
about
that I
him, to be
have tonight
honest.
of Reginald Denny being yanked out of the truck and beaten within an inch of his life.
Well, imagine the fury, the fever, the exploitation dreams that the media is getting off of the kids complaining about their rights right now. And imagine if LA was having a race riot. That was what the media was going nuts. They were trying to desperately drive that to everywhere, it seemed like to me. They were trying to instigate, to get as much, this is the big thing. So I don't know. To me, that's what it felt like. Like, wow, this is
Yeah.
they're fanning the flames. They're not trying to soberly look at this like I thought journalists should. And I don't know. To me, that's what it seemed like. It was frustrating and it was scary because of the way that they were feeding on it. It was
They
really
weren't just covering the facts; they were fanning the flames. And I was also very worried that it was gonna. I was not living in Chicago at the time. I was actually not even in the burbs. I was just outside the burbs, but very worried that Chicago was going to kick off.
Yeah, exactly.
Weren't there riots in like New York too? Maybe.
No, it was like instances the rest of the country, and the way the media was focusing on it again was you've seen the way that they're rabid towards that, and that's
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't say this when they started doing it, but they were definitely
There were
this first time I was aware of it.
I mean, I lived here. Not in Simi Valley, like where I live now. I lived like closer to LA than Canoga Park during that time, and I was a little kid. I was like 7 or 8 years old. But at school, I mean, everyone was pretty scared because there was there were people shot like the next city line over, and it was less than a mile from like where I lived.
How do you
So
stop
it was like coming up.
You got to remember too. This is '92, pre-internet. There was not even a concept of internet yet, so your only info was coming from TV, and yeah.
And most people still only had if they were lucky, 4 stations to choose from.
'92, we had cable.
Well, a lot of people didn't go.
Not everybody. You're right.
Because there was the concept of I don't want to pay for TV when I can get it for free.
When it wasn't everywhere yet. That was still in the days of you had to have it piped here. You had to be in an area to have it. Right? You were in the middle of nowhere. You didn't have cable. No chance.
But the social change of being willing to pay for that had not come to fruition.
Well, we're getting a lot of comments from both sides, so people talking about it. So I'm gonna get some of them. Lockjaw was saying he watched the '92 documentary on Netflix the other night, and it was really good. I'll have to check that out if I can.
I was gonna say I saw a documentary on. It was on TV, Discovery, History, whatever channel it was on. But it was called I guess they do a whole series of it called While We Watched, and they did one of the LA riots, and it was almost a documentary about the news coverage of a thing. And then there was some, there's some natural disasters and different.
Oh, that's
I think there was one on, whatever court cases and stuff, maybe the OJ thing or whatever. But it's the LA riot one is honestly, I learned more from that than from when I was a kid. There was tons of stuff I didn't even know about. But I don't know. Like I said, I was a little kid, so I think my parents probably just turned the TV off, and then I had no idea about it because I wasn't around that area.
General Relativity saying he watched it on the nightly news, but didn't really talk about it. And it was one of those things that, it wasn't. I don't know how to say it. We knew that there was other riots before, and that they have horrible consequences, right? So I think that's what everybody was kind of thinking, oh, we're going through this again, and everyone was 92. It was 68 or 60. What was the last riots? 68, I guess. 60.
Like the Watts riots.
Yeah. So people, that people were all alive for that. At least the adults at the time were all alive for that. So everybody kind of was somber, and everybody knew it was going on, and that it was a tense time and stuff. So different tense than 9/11 for sure. But
racial riots have a this is not the right words, but a flavor of their own, which are distinctly different from other types of riots, at least in my experience and my perception. Because of the ease of spreading, because we are a country of mixed races, so it's very easily for it to jump 1,000 miles over or 500 miles or whatever.
But to our,
But I'm getting off topic.
no, I mean that's a good point. But I'm saying I think it shows how solid the country actually is, because even with that situation, and then with the exploitation of it, I want to say fanning of the flames of it by the media, it didn't catch on. That didn't happen, and it eventually did solve itself, and we moved on. So it's the whole thing. It's not always pleasant and fun and awesome, but that's what freedom's all about, right? Freedom works.
I'll vote for freedom. Good idea.
I don't recall the 92 riots. I guess that would be, I guess you have a pass for not being politically aware when you're 2. Yes.
Yeah. But then again, in some ways that's an example, and I'm not trying to change the subject, but of our public education system.
Well, let's change the subject, though, because really that wasn't even on the list. Oh, there's Bob.
I mean, we can go from training Tuesday or training Thursday to like throwback Thursday for today. And it was the LA riots. That was our topic.
Well, then let's do that. Let's say, what were we thinking about training in 1992? So, Angelina, 1992, where were you at with firearms training?
I mean, I had like shot a 22 before, but in 1992, I was probably like 7.
So is there like hunter safety courses or something like that? Like where I was a kid, even if it wasn't a law, pretty much everybody kind of traditionally would take a kid to a hunter safety class whenever they were getting to the age where they wanted to start going hunting. Did you have something like that out here, or maybe a requirement to do something like that?
No, it was just, I mean, pretty much my uncle just like, with a BB gun started out like, this is a gun. And then that was like my training. Because my parents weren't super into guns, so I didn't get any like exposure from them. Just my uncle pretty much.
So do you think you just may not recall, as far as like he may have mentioned like don't point it at people, or he just thought it was so obvious even to a 6-year-old?
Oh no, there was like, we had rules about it. So, you couldn't point it at anyone, and, only put your finger on the trigger when you're ready to shoot, and, make sure it's, safe and everything. Like that was expressed, with the BB guns for sure.
Because that is definitely step 1 of anybody's training, is that safety. And that is training.
Yeah, I mean that would be the extent of my 7-year-old training.
I'm gonna say Troy stole my answer, so I don't want him to think that I was ripping him off because I already thought of this answer, but I was definitely pretty mean at duck hunt.
Oh,
although
yeah,
I had shot
hunt.
before. I mean, I shot my dad's 22 when I was like 4 or 5, and we'd go up north and shoot, and like basically everything you just said, right? All the safety stuff, I knew all that. I knew not to mess with the guns unless like my dad was around and I asked him and whatever, blah blah blah. But yeah, I wasn't exactly training. I was trying to get better accuracy when I shot, but my dad's not like a super gun guy, so other than just point it in a safe direction and like pull the trigger, see if you hit the target, that's about the amount of training I had at that age. I was kind of learning on my own, trying to hit the target better.
I liked shooting things because I was super into like Ghostbusters and RoboCop and stuff like that. So that was like, oh, that's cool.
So Dano, 92, kind of training.
92, I was a young parent, and I had shotgun for home defense, although I didn't have any training specifically for that, or specifically for home defense. There was no concealed carry where I was living, so that was not an option. And I did have 2 handguns as well. I had a Colt 1911 and a Smith & Wesson 686 revolver. But I shot them for recreational enjoyment.
Well, all right, but training-wise, you'd already been out of the Army by then.
Oh, right. That was back in the early mid-'80s. So it was like 7, 8 years earlier.
But you were in Illinois, so an FOID, sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
Did you do group safety?
Yeah, that was just a matter of sending a check and filling out a form and waiting a few months to hopefully get it. There was no safety class required.
I thought there was a class or something you have to take for an FOID. It was just a formality then.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. And then Smeggy, what about 92? You're saying duck hunt?
Yeah, that was pretty much my answer. And like I said, plinking, but I wasn't necessarily thinking of training.
So in 92, I was done with the Army too, and I wasn't into anything. So I had some guns, but I wasn't thinking about training. I would probably have thought of like scout training, because I was into shooting when I was a scout, and then I would have assumed NRA training was the shit back then. But I'm guessing there must have been gun sight already, so that would have been an opportunity or an option. I would have been aware of it. And then there's always been like the academies, like SIG and some of the other big companies will help train law enforcement and stuff. And I don't know back then if there would have been availability of that.
Yeah, I wonder if many of the companies that were around training companies back then tended to be Leo only.
That's exactly what I meant. Like, I bet you that existed, but I bet you really couldn't have access to it very much unless you happen to know somebody who went to it. So, Bob, we're talking throwback because we started talking about the 92 riots, I guess. And then now we're talking about where we were at with training in 92. If we were aware of it all and what we would have been doing.
Yeah, didn't even think about it back in those days.
What about like hunter safety? Was that a thing? Like, or what? Like with your, what you have to get firearms in Canada now? Don't you have to pass a test? That wasn't a thing yet back then.
94, yeah.
No, 92.
Oh, actually, no, 94. I don't. No, it was 98. Yeah, it was just never a thing back then. Like, if you were gonna hunt, as long as you'd had a hunting license before when they put the laws in, you didn't have to take a hunter safety course. So if you'd, like with me, I'd had a hunting license since I was a little kid. So I never had to take a hunter safety course. It was never required because I was, I'd obviously had a hunting license for years.
And most of the time, hunter safety courses are like how not to die. At least the ones I've experienced are like how not to die in the woods if you get stuck or you fall in the water or something, or you get lost and that kind of thing. And then a little bit about don't walk over a fence with a loaded gun, or don't, whatever, obey the laws and whatever you're at. But they're not like, here's the best way. Maybe a little bit on how to lead a bird or something, but they're really not firearms classes as much as like how to keep your
they teach safety. That's about it.
I mean, I did have a hunter safety class, but not in 92. I didn't get my first hunting license till I was a teenager, so that would have been a little bit later. And that was one of those things. It was required for me. My dad was old enough to be grandfathered in, but he just, took the class with me just to get the little extra information or whatever. But you're right, it wasn't necessarily all firearm stuff. It was just I remember we went to like different like, how would you call it, like workstations or something. Like you kind of broke up in like groups, like 5 or 6 people, and then you rotated through and learned all the different stuff. So they had like a whole bunch of instructors all doing their own little area. And there was archery and like, shotgun stuff in the field, like you were talking about, how to like walk, 3 people in a row and everyone's pointing in a safe direction, and don't shoot the bird that pops up in front of your buddy. Like that's his. Like everyone has their own section, that kind of thing.
It was, what would you call that? Like courtesy or whatever, like hunting courtesy. It was a lot of that kind of stuff. Or like, if somebody else is hunting over here, don't just walk right in and start hunting because they're being a dick. Right.
And then stuff, especially in Michigan, we have like so much public land. We have one of the biggest national forests up north, and So a lot of stuff like that, of being aware, like when you set up, like even if you have like a tree stand or something, like you might be right behind a guy or something. Like you don't realize that you're back to back with someone else or something. Like, that kind of stuff. The laws on transporting guns, but yeah, I don't know if that's really firearm. I guess, like I said, there was a little firearm safety, but it certainly wasn't self-defense training it by any means. And I got 100% on the test. I do remember that.
Oh, congratulations. I mean, late, but...
That makes you the tactical hot shot of the day.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so, G-Webs, what about you? Wait, did you say?
Yeah. Earlier when you went.
All right, so, I guess let's move on to CCW and education. But first, member of the day. So, who should it be? Oh, we'll see who's on the gun channel side. Calaveras. It's going to be Calaveras.
So
do you mean on the better side of the two chat rooms?
The best side.
Is that because he has some kind of a pickle or something as an icon?
Does he?
I don't know what it is. It looks like a pickle.
It's just, I picked it because Calaveras, like, Dia de los Muertos. So, I don't know.
Yo hablo español. What?
Day of the Dead. It's November 2nd. It's like a Mexican thing. Anyway, so he's our tactical member of the day today. So, CCW and education. Where are we going with that? Because we kind of just did training-ish,
Yeah.
training-ish.
I would kind of be interested, since we have people from different states, if you have training required for CCW and what that's like. And we can be real kind of quick. We don't have to dig in super deep, but I'm just kind of curious to get a pulse on the different areas.
Okay, that's cool. So California, yes, and it's I think it's like 8 hours, like half classroom, half range, of like basically diffusing a situation, and then range you have to qualify. It has to be a instructor approved by the sheriff.
Oh, so wait, you're saying that most of the classroom is diffusing a situation verbally?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that would be interesting. And then is that like on a required curriculum, like an established curriculum that all the instructors follow, or?
I think so. Yes, because because you can only take classes from like a sheriff approved person for it to count for your license.
But is the course different from county to county?
I mean, I don't know. I've only taken it.
Because you mentioned the sheriff, and that's what I was curious about.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say it's either a politics or a curriculum thing on who they approve. And maybe it's, we want you to teach this. So whoever will teach this will be an approved instructor.
But like that, would say if it's up to the sheriff to approve it and kind of, I guess, decide what the curriculum level or whatever, they need to teach at this level or better for each county. That's kind of different than like if it was the state said, this is what everyone will do. Or a lot of states will say it has to be 8 hours, do something worthwhile for 8 hours.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know. I just know that's part of the, at least for my county, that's a thing. But I think that is a thing for all the counties, as far as like some kind of a training.
You mentioned like about half of it was on the range. What sort of things did they have you do there?
It's just like basic shooting. You have to hit, center mass. I think it's like a magazine, like 9 out of 10 or something. Center mass, 8 out of 10 maybe. But a lot of it is, frighteningly enough, a lot of it is teaching people how to shoot.
Yeah, and I guess I'll go ahead and go next. In Illinois, it's a 2-day class, and the entire first day is basically firearms for dummies. What is a revolver? What is a semi-automatic? How do you load? How do you unload? Things like that. Just the firearms basics. And then towards the end of that first day, they begin to get into the law. The second day, the first half of the second day is nothing but the law. Nothing about de-escalation techniques or anything. It's just the law in the state of Illinois. And then that goes on to about 2 hours into the afternoon, and then the last 2 hours is qualification, where you have 3 different distances, 5 rounds per distance, and you have to get all 5 rounds on the target. And it is timed. I mean, but there's way more than enough time. So, but that's Illinois in a nutshell. So it's really more educational as far as the law. Really wouldn't call it training. So that's Illinois.
Yeah, so in Michigan we have 8 hours of classroom and then some type of live fire. There's like a suggested sequence where basically you end up shooting 50 rounds, but the way it's like set up is just that the instructor has to sign off that you're safe with the firearm, like you're proficient enough not to like shoot yourself type of thing, or not to be unsafe. And as far as who can do it, I know you have to have some type of credential. So you do have to be like, I don't know, I guess like certified. The state says, okay, yeah, this person's training counts, but I don't know if they necessarily check the curriculum or whatever. I know my buddy had an NRA training thing, and that counted. He's the one that taught our class, so just by him having the NRA's endorsement, he was certified to teach the CCW in Michigan. And it was mostly, well, our class was probably different because, like I said, it was a bunch of friends. Like, we all just showed up, and he was certified to do it. So we spent a lot of times on the laws and the what ifs. What if you stumble upon a bar fight and you get thrown in the middle of it? Like, can you defend yourself, or did you put yourself in that situation, so you're to blame because you escalated it, or whatever, all the different stuff. But there was some like basic gun training type stuff, but he kind of glossed over it because we all knew all that stuff anyways.
Cool. Well, I mean, that's what we didn't do Arizona yet, did we?
No, I got to say, I don't know anymore. So I probably need to go take another CCW class and really sit in on one, because I have no idea what's going on anymore. I've been just redoing my permit, whatever you call it, CCW, for a long time now, 3 times or something. So, and it's been a while since I've reviewed classes, so I haven't gone to one in a while, and I know that they changed the laws. You don't have to get one because Arizona's constitutional carry, so anybody who can legally own a gun can legally carry it any way they want to, including Bob when he comes down, and anybody else who visits Arizona. And so you don't need one. So there's that. And I still get one for all the reasons. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, that you have to be accredited with the state, but then your curriculum is up to you. And I think it's 4 hours for us. It used to be 16, and then it was 8, but I think it might have gone down to 4 because of because of constitutional carry. That I don't think it's 8, but it might be 8. And if it is 8, I'm sure that's to comply with reciprocity, because some states can't deal with, they won't do reciprocity with a state that has too lax, what they consider lax, a requirement for carry. So maybe if they're trying to get reciprocity with somebody, or they're trying to keep decent reciprocity to make theirs look attractive, we might have the 8-hour class, but I really don't know. So I'll have to look into it and take a class, and then I can talk about it with more authority.
Well, that's a good point with the reciprocity thing. Because I know Michigan is good in 40 states, and the 10 we don't have are the 10 that don't recognize anybody.
So like
So only the people who live there. Yeah, California, Illinois, New York, New Jersey,
Oregon.
Massachusetts.
In Oregon, it's because it's like their sheriff has to approve it. So it's like the state, like if Arizona wanted to be hooked up with Oregon with reciprocity, we'd have to go to each sheriff or something. And so it's just not possible. So some of, and like Vermont, you can't have reciprocity when there is none. So some of them, it's not because they're not gun friendly or because they're anti oops, or because it's anti CCW. It's just that they're the way that they're set up is just not a way to be reciprocity.
But I do know we accept all 50 states. So even the 10 who don't like us, you're allowed to come to Michigan and carry anyways. We forgive you.
Oh, that's nice.
Yep.
And we Illinoisans thank you for that. We can't help it that our government sucks.
It's like their mitten is open to all.
It certainly is. Now, caveat though, it has to be a resident permit. And I've heard some people give us crap about that. Like, let's say you live somewhere, you can't really get one, but you end up getting an Oregon one from out of state. That doesn't count here. So if you are in California, you have to find a way to get a California one, and then you're welcome. Which I still think is pretty good.
Still not as free as Arizona.
Yeah. Sounds like Michigan is not as free as Smeggy likes to make us believe.
Now, with pistol registration that they've had for some time,
I've always said we're in the middle. I've been fighting to change it as much as I can, and we have gotten better since. Even in the past 5 years, we've changed a bunch of stuff that we got rid of. So keep working on it. But I never claimed to be Arizona or Vermont or any of the other good ones.
I'm just ball
in the middle.
She snowballs.
Busting breath.
Snowball busting.
Snowball busting.
No respect, I tell you,
No respect. All right,
so try to screen capture an application. Nope, can't do it. What, I have to pop this window out to be able to do it? How do people live with one monitor? No, if I screen share,
I can do Illustrator on a small laptop.
Here we go. Here we go. Now you're seeing this, right?
Yes.
Guns in the shop. It's called Nagel's Gun Shop, San Antonio, Texas. And I forgot who recommended this one, but I did not see it. Now I blame Edge because this looks like a good shop. You see this one, Bob, when you're down there?
No.
Nagel's. This would be something to remember. Bunch of knives in a neat display. Looks like a whole wall of knives.
Someone recently recommended this, but I don't remember who it was because they put it in YouTube, and then I put it in the spreadsheet.
Ah, okay. So first off, I like the building. That sign makes me think it's been there for a while. And
yeah,
I like
that sign.
Winchester and SIG, like actual signs. Well, this SIG might be a banner, but that looks, I think that looks like a real sign.
An old school sign.
Yeah, with like neon. That's cool.
Yep.
Nagel's, they put the sign right in front of gun, though. That seems weird. But then it says guns really big over here. That makes up for it. So how cool is that to see a big gun shop sign like that? I think that's cool.
Be loud, be proud.
So it looks like they got a bunch of guns, and looks like they got, if this is all pictures from that shop, they got a bunch of guns, they got a bunch of reloading stuff and ammo. And then looks like they've got a presence, at least. I don't know how active they are, but a presence on social media. It looks like some YouTube videos and some other stuff pops up in here. So was that someone you said recommended it in a chat so we don't have any comments or description of the shop or anything?
It was, when we didn't have any gun shops, and then we said, oh, someone recommend them.
Right.
So I was putting them in so we'd have a.
Cool. Well, looks like a good shop. Oh, and then I've got their website over here we can look at.
Since 1942.
Open
The
at
best
9 in the
year,
morning, so
42.
feel free to stop by.
Looks like they go right to the guns on the main page with some prices. That's nice. They got their app.
Do they have an about page?
About? They must.
I mean, not all websites nowadays do that, but
Well,
it's nice when they do because it gives you a little bit of history on the place sometimes.
This seems like the kind of place that would, though, doesn't it? Maybe Nagel's News? That sounds like newsletter. Let's see at the top. They might have it. They might be proud of their about. Home About Us. That's what I figured. They're proud of it. They're right up at the top there. So since 1942 is Garage Workshop. That's where Homer Nigel, or Nagel, I don't know how to say that, became an expert gunsmith. Customizing military rifles for the shooting sports in 1942. So what are we talking? Brands? Springfields?
42, the war is still going on.
Oh shit, 42, yeah. So we're talking Springfields. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Since expanded to gunsmithing, firearms, accessories, knives, and safes. Managed by his grandson and Robert's son. Homer's grandson and Robert's son. Robert Nagel. All right. That's very cool.
Oh, okay, so I see. So Homer's son is Robert Nagel, and so now it's managed by Robert Nagel Jr.
Yep. Well, that's what it's all about. Legacies and shops that know what's going on in a neighborhood or an area of town and cater to them and bring stuff that they need, right? So, cool. Let's see where it is. If it's in North San Antonio, we can all get mad at Edge for not taking me there.
What did that say in the about page? It said largest something.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'm just going to zoom out real quick if I can. Can I zoom? Can I do it like this? Oh, look at this. I can touch it with my fingers. Oh, look at that. It's right in the middle of northern San Antonio. Edge deliberately didn't bring me there. We got to figure out what's going on now. It sounds like there's a conspiracy here.
I'll tell you off air.
Largest family-owned gun stores in San Antonio. Stores? How many locations are there?
Yeah. Sounds like they got at least 2 or more.
It just has address here, so maybe they just accidentally pluraled it.
Yeah. But still, the largest family owned, even if there's just one, it's still something. I mean, San Antonio is not a teeny tiny town.
And it's cool that they're paying attention to that and claiming it. So Right on. Good on them. That's awesome. So I think that's neat. I can't even imagine. 42. That's a long, long time to be into the gun biz. Through all this stuff. Can you imagine the 68, the 92, the 94, everything we talked about, they've been through it and they're still there.
Yeah.
All right, what happens if I close this window? Oh, it just dies and doesn't screen share anymore. Neat. That's how you people with one monitor do things. You're able to do it. You're able to do it with the aid of aids.
So I was just scrolling around, and this is kind of completely off topic, so I'm sorry to that gun shop, but you look like an awesome gun shop. Apparently, Vermont's governor is getting ready to sign a bunch of gun control bills. Like, he already said, yeah, that's cool, I'll sign those things. And they've already passed the General Assembly. So, breaking news. I just found out about it. In Vermont, raise the age to 21, ban bump stocks, universal background checks, and partial ban on high-capacity magazines. I'm not sure what that one means. It's just a headline. I can't find details on that.
Garbage. And if people are going to sit by and watch this, then, yeah, that's frustrating.
So, I apologize cutting in, but that's just like, dude, we just talked about how Vermont, like, they've just never had gun laws. They've just been like, yeah, people are nice to each other. We don't need laws. Like, what the heck? That's their constitutional carry because they've just never decided to ban it to begin with, so they don't need permits to do it.
No, every state's feeling the heat to one degree or another.
Well, yeah, definitely, but it's a little more, I don't know, I would say disheartening when it's something I thought was a a slam dunk for, well, this isn't going to pass. I mean, it's Vermont. I mean, they're cool up there. And Pink mentioned it 2 days ago. Okay, well, I didn't see that. Sorry, Pink. It's breaking news to me.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. Me 3.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I know that things were going through. I remember that part of it, but not that the governor said, like, yeah, I'll totally sign this once it gets passed. That part is the new part.
All right, well, we've got 38 people watching. Appreciate that. I don't know what else we've got. Some history. We could probably do a gun of the day, but let's try to wrap it up because I can hear all the cars around me leaving, and I'm all paranoid about getting, I don't know. Mainly, I just don't want them to go, hey, get out of here. And I got all my computers set up, and then I have to, like, throw it together. And while they're looking at me, tapping on the window, and then I'm afraid I'm going to mess up my computer or something. So
no problem.
15 minutes. So go
Bob,
pick another day.
Bob, you got
Bob, you got one?
Sorry. Actually, no, I don't have one.
I'll say the first person on the YouTube side can pick the gun of the day. First response we get will be the gun of the day. And while we're doing that, we can look at history, I suppose, while we're waiting for the YouTube.
Right, I'll do history of the day. History.
Oh, we missed one yesterday. I didn't even post it because I've been farting around, but it is an important one. Vietnam Veterans Day is 29th. Let's not remember.
That's today. The 29th is today.
Well, it depends on where you're listening, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what always screws me up when I pull up the history, because it's like, oh, it's after midnight, so you must mean the history of, Friday. It's like, no, I want Thursday's history.
Well, for 29th, we got 1973, U.S. withdraws from Vietnam. 1951, Rosenberg's convicted of espionage. 1951, the Mad Bomber strikes in New York. Oh, here's a good one. 2006, Tom Jones is knighted by Queen Elizabeth II. Tom Jones, everybody.
It's not unusual.
It's not unusual. 1945, Patton takes Frankfurt. And then 1917, Swedish Prime Minister resigns over World War I policy. And that's it for the regular shit.
Okay, so in the 29th, we're still on 29th, and like I said, it's Vietnam Veterans Day. I guess Trump is claiming to have created Vietnam Veterans Day.
I wonder if if the Vietnam veteran organizations promoted that day because of the 28th being the day that the U.S. forces left Vietnam.
Yes, exactly. And that's what it is. So I don't know. It's not my war, so I don't have a dog in the battle, I guess, or fight. But yeah. So Obama created it during his thing, and then now basically created it as a one-time thing. How kind of douche move is that? And
That's
then
a douche move.
Trump made it a annual thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a douche move that we're doing this in 2018 and what was it, 16 or something? But whatever. Or maybe it was last year, 17 and 16, but whatever. It was a long time coming. And like Dano said, it's the day after the last of the troops that were able to. Let's not forget the POW and MIA in that war.
And the ultimate forgotten war is Korea.
For sure. But again, that's my uncles. It's not me or my parents. So I just didn't.
Well,
I wasn't
right. But to literally skip over it, I mean, they should have been both recognized at the same time, given their own days.
That's very
well, maybe the same year. But yeah. I don't remember when. I know they have a memorial in D.C. now. The Korean War.
Yeah, but there's not nearly the recognition to the Korean War vets there should be.
Well, again, I think it's because of the age, right? And they don't stand up and say, hey, because they're not the type, that generation isn't the type to stand up and go, hey, remember the shit we did? They just did it. Maybe I'm speaking up.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Korean War vets were quite often also World War II vets.
Exactly. They were like, let's go do this and get it over with, right? And then a couple of new guys. But then yesterday, the 29th, was another day for gun history. In 2012, so 6 years ago, Arizona became the second state to legalize hunting suppressors. Think about how many states have legalized hunting with suppressors since. So we didn't cut it. I don't know who the first state was. It was like Montana or something. But then we got on board in 12, thanks to Arizona Citizens Defense League, I'm sure. And other states have followed. That was integral to getting suppressors to where we got them almost. We got them to the Congress, and it went over to the Senate. We got suppressors off the NFA to the Congress of the United States. That's an achievement. It hasn't been done since 1934 when they took it from us. And we demanded that slice of cake back all the way to where it was going to go to the Senate. And then Trump probably would have done it, but he's manipulated by the media. We know that. And we allowed it to happen by not, being vigilant enough, but whatever. So Arizona was the second state to get suppressors for hunting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I mean, that just makes sense to me. It's like you're out there hunting and shooting and stuff. You don't have to annoy all your neighbors all the time. And protect your ears, because I'm the type of person, I don't wear ear pro. I get yelled at all the time for it, but I don't wear ear pro when I hunt.
So tomorrow, the 30th, or today, depending on what part of the country you're in, or the world, because people listen to us internationally. So one interesting thing happened. Does anybody remember what happened in 1981?
St. Helens?
Nope, March 30th, 1981. It had to do with Jodie Foster.
Oh, yeah, the guy that tried to shoot Reagan, or he did shoot Reagan.
Yeah, Hinckley shot Reagan because Jodie Foster, to impress Jodie Foster, and that was in 1981 with a revolver, little China special revolver,
22 caliber revolver, shooting explosive bullets though.
Oh, really? And then,
did you go to the Reagan Library while you were here?
No.
He is now out on temporary release, but guarded.
Really?
I'm surprised.
Crazy. Wow.
For visits to his, I don't know if it's his mother or somebody he's allowed to visit, but he has to be with somebody at all times.
Wow. That's weird. That's crazy.
Which is unusual.
Well,
I'm just curious, why did Jodie Foster tell him to do it? I mean, she seems kind of
No. She didn't say nothing. He was trying to impress her.
I know. I'm just kidding. I know he was like crazy and thought that would work or whatever.
The taxi driver, crazy, weird shit. Like just somebody who was nuts. Which may be why they're releasing him, is because now he's had 40 years of psychiatry and drug therapy and God knows what else they've done to him. So now he's pretty much just like
he's spent all that time in a psychiatric institutions.
Probably, yeah. Because he
did.
Yeah, he did. He was found like mentally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, God knows what left of his brain just to be. He's not gonna go and start becoming this evil genius again. He never was to start with. But it just shows what fakery these exploding bullets are. They always when the left gets hold of the fact that exploding bullets are so devastating, blah, blah, blah. So there was exploding bullets back then, right? You could just it was a little primer charge in the hollow point, basically, and these were so deadly. He used them on the president. Well, he hit the president, went through his ribs, hit Brady in the head, didn't kill either one of them.
Well, that's an important part that we missed completely too, is that that's where Brady came from. And then we get the Brady campaign against guns and rights. I should say the Brady campaign.
Oh, is that where Brady comes from?
That's the Brady campaign against our rights, and that's where we get the Brady bill and the 5-day waiting periods and NICS.
He was the press secretary for Ronald Reagan. He'd go out there and go before the podium every morning and talk to the press.
And he was just standing around him when it happened or something, right? And
not like he jumped at the same time,
Not like he jumped.
I had no idea where Brady came from. I just knew he was a jerk who hates guns.
No, it was from that specific incident. So, like I say, he took one. He's paralyzed or something. Reagan took one. Well, I don't know. People hate Reagan. People love Reagan. But if you don't hear the story about Reagan getting shot and going into the surgery and talking to the doctors and stuff, then I don't know. I think you got to have respect.
And then the news crew shot of him waving out from his bedroom, not bedroom,
I think
but his
the only
hospital
better one was, who was it? Wasn't there a president that took a bullet and it hit his speech or his whiskey can or something, or his watch?
No,
Or
it's Theodore Roosevelt, man.
and then he
that
just
first
went
was
up and did his
Roosevelt.
speech. And just
Yeah.
did his speech and dealt with it after. That's like the second. Yeah, that's why this country's cool.
That's
Yeah.
an 1800s man right there.
Yeah, that it went through the speech, penetrated his chest, but didn't kill him right away. So he was like, "Okay, I'm going to finish my speech."
It didn't kill him later either.
No.
Yeah.
Right, but he was just like, "I'm going to do my speech. I don't care if I got shot."
I think Reagan's thing was, didn't he say something like, "Wait, you're not a Democrat, right?" Something like that before he went under.
Something like that, yeah.
He was kidding all the way up to going under. All right, so that's today in history, and Jimmy's not here, but I'm not sure what they're doing in the mornings, but they're efforting towards getting people together from all the different states. We'll effort towards using that group of people to provide information and to help filter some of the noise that we hear out there, get to the important stuff like Smeggy just mentioned. Vermont, I hadn't heard about that either. So, we're thinking about creating something like a scoreboard of 2A stuff, probably on the Every Second Matters page, so that it can be maintained by everyone in each state every morning, so that there's one place that we can go look at when we're doing live shows like this, or when we want to have a discussion with somebody, or if we're just curious what's the state of the states, right? And I think it's a really cool idea, and it just came out of everybody getting together and having conversations every morning, and using guns as the topic that we pivot on. So that's cool. I'm pretty sure that Knives is still doing lobbies when he can, and others seem to be picking up the ball. Gun Channels is rocking, so anybody that wants to create a channel, we just set one up last night for, I forgot who it was. We set one up last night for somebody, so you do want
Tater
to
tots.
right, the tater tubes. So if you need something like that, just let me or Night Strike, one of the other mods, know when we're there, and we'll happy to help set it up for you, and then have fun with conversations. Let's see, tomorrow is Friday, so I think Budget Guns and Gear. I know Clover.
Budget Guns and Gear will, if it comes on, will be definitely late. He has to work a double shift.
Okay, thanks. So that's an update there. And is there somebody else who's doing a Friday now? I thought there was somebody else doing a Friday.
Night Strike does Friday Night Strike.
Oh, when is that?
I'm not sure. I know it's when I'm singing karaoke, so 9, 10 o'clock, something like that, maybe.
Okay, right on. So yeah, lots of stuff happening on Fridays, and join in to those conversations. Saturdays, well, we'll talk about that tomorrow. So anybody else have anything before we head on out?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a Smeggy Cave after this. I'm getting requests to do it from people, so
Right on.
it'll be right after this. So, give me a couple minutes to get it all set up and whatnot. But
Well, I'm gonna probably be just driving. So what I'll do is, and I'll be in LA for a while, I guess, right, an hour. Angeline, if I'm on Observatory, it's gonna be like an hour before I get out of like Thousand Palms or whatever, right?
Like from till you get to that area, yeah, probably about an hour-ish.
So I imagine I'll have internet. I'll see if I can't try doing it live, or join in live.
I'll probably go to the cave.
Well, I know, G, you kind of need to get rolling. Anything else before Bob does a quote?
No, remember the tour. If you would share it, 3 people have made comments over there, but the goal is to get some of the people that have already participated in it to go back and leave some comments, comment on some of the updates, just to kind of give it some, stir the waters a little bit, get it out there. It's, it's the last few days, and hopefully get some people on board. Appreciate it.
And buy a sticker.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. For that, please like, share, subscribe. If you can, support us on Patreon. Tonight's quote is by Anonymous. from bumper sticker. You can take it from my cold, dead hands. Night all. See you.
42 viewers. Thanks everybody for watching.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day.